Hello and welcome to Cindershadow Gaming. I'm your host Cindershadow, and today we got to talk about Nintendo Power. Well, these magazines were probably one of the better things that came out of the Nintendo era of the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo Entertainment System, the N64. These things were jam-packed full of tips, tricks, and upcoming video games, and they just overall were great. And because you guys had such a great response to the Super Nintendo video that we put up, I figured, you know what? I've got a few of these lying around. A buddy of mine sent these over to me a long while ago, and they were in hopes that someday I may make a video on some of them. So I thought, I'm going to open this one up. We're going to take a look at what was inside of here. A lot of times these had posters or just sort of tips and tricks. This one was a holiday guide, I believe. Yeah, from 2008. So thank you once again. You know who you are. These were given to me quite a while ago. I've been hanging on to them. They're not anything crazy, the newer ones. Some of these are actually very collectible when it does come down to it. Some of these were, like if it was Zelda or Mario or just nostalgic purposes from the Nintendo era, these were very sought after. These are even sought after today for the nostalgic of them. So the biggest thing that we see here, because there's lots of things that have changed with Nintendo overall. We've got Sonic on the cover because Sega stopped producing consoles and their games. They just decided to make software instead. We got good old Chrono Trigger, one of my absolute favorite games, and I really wish I still had a cartridge for Chrono Trigger. I have one for the Game Boy, but it's not the same. The Super Nintendo cartridge, to actually own that would be amazing, but it's the one cartridge I don't have. I had it at one point, but it disappeared out of my collection because someone thought that they would take it and thought it would be better off in their hands for God knows whatever reasons. We got Tomb Raider. You've got other things on here. I believe that's Castlevania, Raving Rabbids, or whatever they were called. So a lot of these things did have a lot of different stuff on them, like advertising. A lot of it was advertising. Over the years, these did go downhill. A lot of these magazines have gone downhill over the years. A lot of them are just filled front to back full of ads now. They're not what they used to be, where it was actual good write-ups of video games. So you used to get cards like this that you could fill out for vouchers, which would make it cheaper overall. This one looks like it has a Pokemon Ranger Shadow of Almina poster in it, and then a Nintendo, which looks like a Nintendo DS game. And then on the back side of that, it's also a different style of poster. A lot of these posters were double-sided back in the day. So if you didn't like one side, you would normally like the other side. When I grew up, a lot of these posters were on the walls of my room. Look at that. We got another business card. Oh, hey, this looks like an interesting poster. This is a Castlevania poster. Look at that. So 2 posters in here. This is for the Wii. That's kind of neat. It's a little bit more anime styling for a Castlevania. And then the inside will be just a different version of it. This was how they used to advertise their games. And honestly, I miss these old school days of these old posters and stuff like that. So what was in here? Usually you would find a good table of contents. And you can see we got a Tomb Raider ad. The next page, we got a My Sims Kingdom ad. Like, this is what I mean. They've really gone hard into the ads. So this one talks about the test of time with The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, one of the greatest games. And in Zelda overall, there's actually an interview here over 10-year anniversary of Zelda Mastermind. But, this is 2008. We're in 2021. So there is a big difference here, even in that amount of time. There was like, yeah, every couple pages there's like 4 ads. Like, we've even got Naruto in here. Where was that? Where are you? I saw you on the side there. Yeah, like the side of a page you got a Naruto ad. That goes to show you how old some of this stuff is. If you're a Naruto fan, this was 2008. You're in 2021 now. How old are you? Oh boy. Christ Crossing, I'm guessing Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, little tiny makeup on it. Like, the makeups on some of these games where they're reviewing games, literally coming down to these tiny blurbs. Oh, remake of Punch Out, I believe that was for the Wii. You know, like, these magazines completely full of stuff. But like I said, this isn't even the back in the heyday. Back in the heyday, where you had your the original Nintendo, these magazines were your key to unlocking some stuff with some games and just doing things up amazingly. Like, these used to be filled with cheat codes, walkthroughs, everything on how to find every part of some aspects of some games. Test of Time. Here's the interview with Zelda linked Ocarina of Time, which is, you know, Ocarina of Time is one of those absolute phenomenal games. It was one of those games, if you've never played Ocarina of Time, pick it up somewhere. I don't care how you do it, play the damn game. I am going to be sure that 99% of the people that do see this video have probably played Ocarina of Time. If I'm wrong with that, let me know down below if you have never played Ocarina of Time. A good interview. It's a pretty lengthy interview here. What's the first question they give him? 10 years after the release, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is still revered as many as the best and most influential game ever made. Why do you think it has made such a large and lasting impact? So, Aja... Oh, you know what? I'm going to butcher these names if I go through stuff like this. Anyway, unlike Miyamoto, who had a film idea of what he wanted to make based on his experience developing 3D games in the past, working on a 3D game for the first time. Since there weren't any similar games to emulate, I groped around in the dark for quite some time. In the end, when I heard the tester's response, I heaved a sigh of relief. Since there was nothing to copy, we were forced to be original. I believe that's why we were able to create a game that inspired a fresh sense of wonder in its players. Working on later games in the series, I was skeptical we could ever make anything to surpass it. I think Ocarina, as a 3D action-adventure game presenting a miniature world within which players could move around freely, set the new standard. So that's the type of stuff that we used to get in these things. And, you know, that's pretty in-depth on what's going on with that type of game world now. Like, you look at it now, we had Super Mario 64 come out on the N64, I believe shortly after this, and using the same sort of idea of the 3D engine, just telling the story in a completely different way. That's like a 4-page interview in here, which is absolutely insane. It came from Japan. Wow, this is crazy. They're talking about Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. You got Shining Force Feather, No More Heroes, Tenchu 4, Art of the Ninja. I remember when Tenchu's Stealth Assassins, the first one, came out. That was one of those games that we played on the PlayStation quite well. Gardening Mama, Little Magic, The Magician's Magic Adventure, Seventh Dragon, what else is in here? Infinite Space, Phantasy Star Zero, Monster Hunter 3. Yeah, like, there's a good in-depth thing there. A Most Gentlemen Escape Day. That's an interesting looking game. I haven't seen that one myself. Okay, they're showing in here holiday stuff to pick up. You can get a Samus figure, a Sonic figure. You've got a Zelda figure, Mario Karts, art books. Art books would be amazing to own, especially the Final Fantasy 3 one that is out there. I know one of the viewers of the channel, Bo Falcon, got me the Liliana ultimate alternate art from Japan, which is the same artist that did the original concept art for Final Fantasy 3. That book alone would be amazing to own. I gotta say that. Where are we? Anything else in here? Like, yeah, this is a holiday guide. They're talking candy, accessories, clothing. So it was always stuff that was neat to have. And this has a 20 years of Nintendo Power. So 2008 was 20 years of that. So 1988, that seems about right for Nintendo Power. I used to have a subscription to this when I was young. So, final thoughts, where they've gone, what they've done with the thing. That's incredible to see. And of course, they got the Wii avatars for all the guys' avatars. That's pretty neat to see. What else is in here? They're talking about power profiles. This is one of the guys that looks like he works for Nintendo. Mole Mania. I don't see any Chrono Trigger in here, even though it was on the cover, which is a little disappointing. Actually, I'm thinking this about the time that they re-released Chrono Trigger out on the Game Boy, the handheld version. Yeah, here we go. Chrono Trigger rating is still a 9 as an all-time great game. Yeah, this is the platform for the DS. So this is the updated version of Chrono Trigger is what they're talking about here. And that Chrono Trigger, there was added quests and stuff like that. Once you got further and further in the game, you were able to unlock everything for your characters, doing a separate like extra quest or storyline that they had in the game, which was a nice addition. I think it actually brought back a little bit more with the game. But for Chrono Trigger, one of the reasons why it's one of my all-time favorites was the New Game Plus version that you could go back through the game and then be able to fight the boss at different stages in the game, and it unlocked so many different endings. I think at one point there was like 7 endings, then there was 11 endings. I'm not even sure how many endings are to Chrono Trigger now because there's so many different ones there was, and that number has changed over the years. Yeah, this is just talking about other games. The Force is weak with this one. Star Wars, The Clone Wars, Lightsaber Duels only got a 4, which is too bad. Reviews archives. So they're talking about old school games here, where they ended up. This is kind of neat. What is this? Wii, Nintendo DS. Oh, that's all that they go? Oh, that's too bad. It would have been nice if they went back into like the Super Nintendo stuff. Anyway, guys, this has been a good stroll down a memory. Something that I thought was something that was worth talking about, and hopefully you guys still have some Nintendo Powers lying around or some of these magazines, and maybe one day one of those magazines will shoot up and they'll be worth tons. But nothing is more priceless than the retro version of these magazines. You guys have a great day. If you like what I do here, do hit the subscribe button and hit the like, and let me know down below what was your favorite Nintendo Power incident or article you've ever seen. I will talk to you guys next time.